Shadow Dancer was released in 1990 for Sega Mega Drive, also known as Sega Genesis. It's considered a loose adaptation / remake of a 1989 arcade game of the same name. You play as a ninja with unlimited shuriken, a sword, an attack dog, and a chest protective bra to aid him in his mission to rescue hostages in 1997's New York from a gang of villains called the Union Lizard. The gang contains thong-wearing knife wielders, thong-wearing green cyclops, frisbee throwers, big-hearted ninjas, and riot cops with 3 bullets. You can throw shuriken at the enemies from afar or send your dog to bother them, and then can shuriken their faces to oblivion. But throwing shuriken won't work on enemies who are guarding themselves, so you have to get uncomfortably close to them and finish the job with your sword. Even your dog can't attack a guarding enemy. If he tries, he'll temporarily turn into a puppy. Enemies would throw bullets or frisbees at you, or simply jump around and try to strike you, which could get overwhelming and kill you, because in this game, you die by just 1 hit. Which makes you a snowflake shinobi.
Or as we are known on the streets, bitch ass niggas.
Every level has 2 stages and a boss fight. Each stage has villains guarding a number of citizens that you have to save by simply standing over them. This specific female citizen type gives you a power-up which converts your shuriken to a Hadouken. The first level is in Burning Downtown, which showcases the best of the game's graphics and background effects. This is also the only level with environmental hazards like lava spewing manholes, rain of rocks, and earthquakes that split the streets in half and swallows you whole if you're not careful. Interestingly, even if you're standing on top of a manhole and it does one of those pressure cooker things, nothing happens to you, which I found to be quite strange for the brittle shinobi who can die just by 1 hit to his ankle.
Dead.
At the end of the Burning Downtown level, we face the first boss of the game, a samurai-armored, robot-looking dragon who makes it rain stones from above and breathes fire. You're supposed to avoid these while throwing shuriken on his face. Once you finish a boss, you get a bonus stage where you suicide jump from a really tall tower and throw shuriken at ninjas bouncing towards you. You can easily move to one side and mash the button to hit every one of those ninjas and score a perfect to get 3 lives. The next level is called Battle on the Railway, but in the first stage you're dropped on a bridge. As usual, you save some citizens while crossing the bridge and then cross a railway, and at the end meet the boss, who's some kind of a stone-based ghost thing that appears at random places and wants to hug you with his stony hands. But of course, being the oversensitive shinobi that you are, you get crushed under the heaviness of his love.
Hey, brothers, come on, give me a hug. Get out of my face. You just better get out of my face.
This was my favorite boss of the game. There's something about the happy face the boss makes that made him seem so adorable, and also mechanically this one was fun to fight, although every boss in the game basically operates the same way. Another bonus stage later, we arrive at the Statue of Liberty. The first stage of this level takes place in what looks like the inside of the statue, or maybe just a random factory. I couldn't really tell. These thong-wearing green cyclops are introduced in this level, but they spawn in a corner where you end up killing them so fast that you won't even get to see their moveset. The second stage of the level introduces a little variation by taking place entirely on an elevator. The only enemies you'll face here are red, blue, and yellow ninjas, and a helicopter which tries to make your life just a little bit harder. This level demands you to be really fast, as it can get overcrowded with numerous jumping ninjas if you don't take care of them as soon as they spawn. As these ninjas are the most acrobatic of all the enemy types, naturally it becomes pretty difficult when multiple of them start rolling over your head. The boss of this level is a woman who throws gigantic DVDs at you.
இந்த வருஷத்து முதல் டிவிடி தான். இதுல பயங்கர பவர் இருக்கு. Thank you Jesus.
This was the longest boss fight in my playthrough because the opening to land a hit on the boss is very short.
You should punch her in the face.
The gigantic 1200 terabyte DVD disc she holds in her hands block most of her face, which makes it quite frustrating to hit her with the shuriken. Since the fighting platform is so wide, she often ends up outside the screen, which makes it outright impossible to tell what she's doing. I literally had to use my ninjutsu power while she was out of bounds to finish her off. Oh, I forgot to mention, you also have ninjutsu power in this game, which is basically a limited consumable supernatural cheat code that pretty much every game used to have around that time. time. The next level is some kind of a swampy cave which plays as depressingly as it looks. The level is difficult, which is fine since that's what the game was going for, but because of so much verticality and how the camera is too slow to catch up with that, it often ends up becoming the reason for your death, which feels kind of unfair.
Unbelievable.
The next section is even worse, in fact, the worst part of the game. It has these shadows that completely obscure both you and the enemies, making it pretty much impossible to complete the stage in your first few tries, since the game literally doesn't let you see anything.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
For a game where you die by only one hit, I think this is too punishing, and yeah, complete darkness might work in Dark Souls Catacombs, but here it just made me furious and nothing else. The boss of this level was the most frustrating for me. Even after having killed the boss, I still have no idea where exactly is its weak point and when was there an opening to hit it. I just blindly sprayed and prayed, and this boss also had the same issue of getting out of bounds, so yeah, not a fun time at all. The last level is at the Union Lizard headquarters, which is just a collection of 5 rooms that look like warehouses. Each room consists of a single type of enemy, so before the final boss, it's just a test to see how much you've learned to deal with each kind of enemy, which is kind of a futile test as the final boss only contains one type of enemy, the Black Ninja. Since this is the only boss where normal enemies also appear, perhaps having a mix of every enemy type would make the 5-room gauntlet more meaningful. The boss is a purple samurai with a face for a belly. He unleashes a number of black ninjas on you before his head detaches and fiery rain drops from above. You discover that his neck has RGB lights on it, so naturally you hit it and defeat it. Then the end credit rolls where some weird names pop up like Supervisor Kanka, Tantan and Hey Hey, and at the end of the credits we discovered that through this trial and tribulation the shinobi's bra broke. That's gonna be an expensive repair. Overall, Shadow Dancer is a very difficult but fun game. The graphics are pretty good, although it shows all its graphical flair in the first 2 levels and then progressively goes drab and uninteresting and never gets back up. The levels don't have much variation, but for an arcadey game like this, I guess that's okay. I like the dog mechanism. It was pretty novel for the time. I remember seeing this game for the first time at a neighbor's house and the barking white dog really caught my attention. In my opinion, Revenge of Shinobi is still the best looking and playing Shinobi game, but this one is not that bad.